Hello, and welcome to the Art of Yoga Project's YouTube channel. My name is Holly Saita, and today we will be taking healthy risk in class. So we're going to dive right into it, and it's going to be a invigorating class where we're going to dive into a pose called Bakasana or Crow. And you might want to block if you have one. Sometimes book might work if you have that instead. Also, a blanket is always useful for beneath your head at any point or just during final relaxation or under your knees. Could also be useful. Another thing I have by is a bolster. If you have a bolster or a pillow that you want to use for extra support or cushion during your practice, that's always nice too. Also, a super option to have an eye pillow. Something you can just place over your face during our final relaxation to eliminate distractions. But let's get started wherever you're at, whomever you're with. We're going to do a little warm-up. So starting seated, nice comfortable position, we're going to do some weather tapping. So beginning at the head, just sort of go ahead and tug your ears just to start to bring yourself to center, feeling grounded and oriented in your space, noticing what's around you, where the exits or the entrances to the rooms maybe are, wherever you're on your mat, what are the things that you need. Gathering that all now and joining me to massage the earlobes. And then the temples, noting what lies between the two palms, the brain. We're going to try to relax our mind throughout this practice. So letting go of any sort of plans or goals or deadlines for now, setting that all aside. Let's go ahead and tap the head. Just kind of, whenever you're trying to knock some sense into yourself sometimes, it's always good to wake up the brain. So just beginning by tapping the head, coming down to the shoulders and the neck, tapping the back of the neck, tapping down one arm, getting in touch with yourself, bringing some warmth up that arm, across your chest, down the other arm. Kind of giving yourself a tap on the back for making it to your mat, right? Good job. Up and down that opposite arm. We're opening up the lymphatic system. Let's go underneath here where the armpit meets the rib cage. Let's go down underneath the other one, bringing energy and life, stimulation to each part of the body. Let's come across to the chest. For this one, you may bring 2 pointer fingers and a thumb together. And just tap beneath your clavicle. Maybe make some noise if you're alone, or even if you're not. Being unique and playful with your practice is always nice. Coming down, let's just tap out the belly a little bit. Maybe rubbing the belly instead, being more precious with those areas. And then let's see if we can tap down the low back. And maybe we get a little bit more vigorous with this weather tapping, right? Maybe it turns into light rain has turned into more of a patter, a harder patter with the hands. The low back, the outsides of the hips. You can bring your legs out in front of you. Let's tap out our legs. The tops of the thighs are our largest muscle, the quadriceps. So you can maybe even bring fist and thunder tap the top of your thighs. And then come inside, be gentle with your joints, maybe just rub your knees out, and then come into the insteps of your feet, the instep of your leg, and just kind of shaking up any energy up and down, inside and out, all the way back up. Let's come all the way back up. So bring the legs, cross them back, the low back, the kidneys, the back of the lungs, again the belly. Let's end it in the chest. Let's start to tap a little bit softer this time. Let's tap down softer. Maybe even squeezing instead of a tap. Let's just give ourselves a squeeze. Just getting in touch with ourselves. This practice is all about doing just that. Coming up that arm, that opposite arm, that neck. Maybe squeezing your shoulders. It's about coming in tune with yourself, right? And maybe rubbing your neck out, a little shampooing. Hopefully feeling a little more in our bodies, a little more in our breath now, a little more warmer, noticing if you feel different. We're going to do a little check-in. So this check-in is just about checking in with yourself. And maybe if you're alone, that's something you can do out loud, or just to yourself. If you're not alone, you can take some time to check in with the people surrounding you, sharing your name and your feeling if you're new to each other. And then maybe taking a time to share a time you did or took a healthy risk. And examples might be asking someone out, a girl or a guy or someone that you've liked, them you might liked, or maybe asking for a raise or a promotion at your job. Anything like this that you've done. Sharing that time with yourself, remembering that time with yourself, and we're going to take that courage with us into this practice, this short practice, into our crow practice. If you want to share that with your friends, doing so, pausing, or your family or whoever you're with, and maybe your community, whatever it is, sharing that, and let's move forward when we're ready into our practice. So let's go ahead and roll our sleeves up and get down to business here. We're going to start in a seated position. Let's start seated facing the front of our mats. We're going to get our wrists warmed up. So go ahead, and when we're ready, we're going to open up our arms, and then exhale, close our arms, and bring our elbows together and our wrists in line with our elbows in line with our shoulders. Notice this takes some strength of our upper body a little bit to hold this all in place. Let's clasp our fingers and roll out our wrist. And feeling whichever direction you're going, rolling your wrist out. The palms are really important, right? Super cool things that help us create and work and express. So now we're going to flip that direction, right? And maybe it takes you a little bit of thought to do that. That's okay. Maybe it's a little difficult. Maybe you bring the hands apart and you just rub your wrists together in circles, and then bring the hands together, and then notice that's kind of what we're doing. We're just rubbing the base of the wrist together in a circle. And then hands apart again, rub the circle in the opposite direction, bring your fingers together, and then continue with the whole palm. Beautiful. Once you've done that, let's just shake out the wrist and maybe let off any energy. We're going to inhale through the nose and exhale, maybe flutter your lips. Nice. We'll go ahead and we'll bring the hands in front of us, bring our feet behind us. We're going to open up the toes a little bit by tucking our toes and walking our hands back. But first, let's walk our palms, point our fingers out to the side, and stretch out the wrists a little bit, and then point our fingers towards our knees. So now we're stretching out the palms and the forearm. Take a deep breath into here, into these areas. Again, important pieces of the body. Our palms, in general, just help us communicate. They help us get work done. So let's maybe do whatever feels nice. Maybe peel your fingers and stretch all fingers. Maybe just bring your wrists back down and bring your weight back forward. You can experiment with what feels nice for you. Note we're all at different areas, different times and experiences, different places and bodies. So taking it as far as feels nice for you. If you're practicing with others, noting that we want to celebrate the diversity and the fact that we all look different when we do things. And that's okay. Let's walk our hands back out. Our toes are still tucked behind us. This is opening up our feet a little bit. Let's flip our palms. So now the front of the palm is on the mat. And now we're just leaning back ever so slightly. Not too much weight in your wrists because your hands are vulnerable. They aren't placed on the mat face down. Stretching in the opposite side of the wrist. And then coming back, bring your hands to the floor beneath your shoulders, your feet. Let's maybe tap them out a little bit. Maybe they got a little stretched out there from the toes pose. That can be a lot for some of us. Tapping it out, maybe it sounds like a herd of horses when we all do this together in a group, right? And that can be fun. Okay, bring your feet back down to stillness. Press them into the floor, tops of the feet into the floor. Let's go ahead and reach our arms up when we're ready. Find our arms up to the sky, and then exhale our hands down. Roll the wrists out. Let's do this twice more. Inhale the arms up. And then exhale, roll the wrists out, palms down. Inhale once more, arms up. Exhale, palms down, beautiful. Bring your hands to the mat in front of you. Go ahead and guide yourself all the way down to your bellies. And let's peel our hearts open, our bellies open, and look up, a little high cobra. So we could do up dog where we tuck our toes and lift our hips up, or we can keep our hips down, our feet down, and just do a cobra. Feel some strength in your upper back, wherever you're at. Stretch in your spine. Maybe look over one shoulder, maybe look over the other, creating space in your low back as we do so, pulling your chest forward. And then exhale, guide your hearts down, tuck your toes behind you. Let's all find a downward facing dog. So finding your downward facing dog, your palms will be spread nice and wide, fingertips pointed to the top corners of your mat. Stretch your arms nice and long. You can start in your puppy dog, get a nice long spine, and then slowly straighten your legs. Maybe you dance here, walk in the dog. Go ahead and pedal your feet side to side. And then maybe look forward, and we're going to all flow forward into a plank position for a moment. And then exhale back into your downward facing dog. Create some strength, right? Take those risks. Inhale forward into the hands. Exhale back, kind of flossing the shoulders here. This time look up, and let's bend the knees and bring our feet to our hands with a little hop. And can we hop all the way up to the top and rise up to a stance? Maybe that takes a couple of times for you, and that's okay. We're going to pause here now on our standing mountain. Inhale, reach your arms up to the sky. Exhale, reach them over to the right. Lateral stretch. Inhale, reach them up. Exhale, reach them over to the left. Lateral stretch, opposite side in, sailed arms up. Exhale, swan dive down to the floor. Let's find our block and heel toe our feet out to the side. We're going to do a squat, yogi squat. Okay, so our block can be here for support in our yogi squat as we prop it beneath and squat down. So in our yogi squat, it's important, we're going to open up in the thighs and the hips. It's important that our toes are pointed out to the side, our blocks beneath us, and our spines are straight. Hands can come together because it helps create resistance here for the knees and the elbows to press in towards each other. And then you can feel a connection of the thumb and the heart, hopefully, inviting your spine nice and tall. And we'll press into the fingers. While we're here, let's do a little finger exercising. Our arms, our hands in particular, will be very important for where we're going. We're going to try to balance on them later. So just doing a little finger stretching here. Nice. Taking a pause in your hips, noticing if this is a opening here in your hip flexors. And take a breath there. Nice tall spine. And then once we're ready, we'll come out of this pose for now. Do a little flow to help warm us up some more. Bring your hands or your blocks to the floor in front of you. Coming out of heel toe your feet back together. And then this time just step your left leg back. And then go ahead and rise on up to a high lunge. For high lunge here, we're going to pause. And then exhale, open up warrior two. So open to the side of your mat. Feel that fierceness, feel that focus over our right palm. And then inhale, right palm up, left palm back. Peaceful warrior. It's like we reversed this fierceness. We're just being peaceful. And then exhale, cartwheel your hands down. And we're going to heel toe right foot out to the side for a lizard pose. We're going to be open in our hips a lot for this class. So for lizard, our hands are placed on the instep of our right foot. Our left leg's behind us like a tail. Let's relax here for a moment. And can we pause and maybe think of something nice to say to ourselves? Let's do this little twisted lizard lunge now. So options to move forward or stay here. Keep your left hand down on the floor or bring your left hand to the block. If you'd like, reach your right arm up and then see if you can bend your knee behind you. And then if you can, maybe you can grab your foot. Maybe you grab your sock, or even you grab your pant leg. Anything may work, right? We're gonna just add a twist into this. I have my block here for assistance also. So maybe it's on a higher setting. Maybe it's on a lower setting. Low seems like a good one. Keep your shoulder and your left wrist in line. Look up and over your right shoulder. Twisted lizard lunge. Open up, see if you can push your back leg. Maybe kind of feel your back foot pushing your arm or your hand. Getting a nice stretch of the quad. Getting a nice stretch of the hip. Back leg, the front leg. Also a twist and a little bit of a back bend. Take a pause there. Let's come out of it when we're ready. No slingshot. Take your time. And then go ahead. We're going to quickly switch legs. Yeah, do a switch up. Maybe do it a few times. Notice how you might take that healthy risk to switch it up. And then we'll come to the other side. Again, finding your block. If you need it, you can place it beneath your palms. Get yourself a little higher. Heel toe your left foot out towards the edge of your mat now. Find your hands beneath your shoulders. Lizard. Your back leg is your tail. So you don't want your back leg over to the side, all awkwardly. We want it nice and straight, as if we were a lizard and we're a continuation of our head. Let's take a pause here, noting how anything may be coming up, any judgments. Let them float away, right? Sometimes we've got to take those healthy risks, and we need to just notice and acknowledge the things that may come up and stand in your way, but try not to let them stop you from taking a healthy risk for yourself. Okay, so letting those judgments just fly by if you can. Bring your right palm now to the block, okay? And maybe it's on a medium. I think a low is best, but high can get you up higher. If you choose to do that, less stability. You can keep it low. Keep your hand on the ground also if you choose. If your wrists are getting tired, option to do gorilla hand, just the fist. Okay, all options. Choosing what works for you. Reach now, open, twist, and maybe bend your back leg and capture your back foot, capture your sock, capture anything, your pant leg. We're getting a really nice deep stretch here. We're getting a good stretch outside of the hip. We're getting a twist in the spine. Openness, back bend in our upper spines. All of this happening at once. How can we bring the mind back to this moment, back to your breath, and then come back out of it nice and slowly. Go ahead and bring both palms back to the floor, sweeping left leg back. Nice. Find that downward facing dog once more. Let's take a few more hops. So what we're going to do is we're just going to exhale, bend the knees, inhale, hop up to the front of the mat. Cool. Let's set up for our final posture, our climax, rather. The risky one. So this one's called crow pose. For crow pose, we want to balance on our hands. And note that when we do this, if we're doing this in a group of people, we want to celebrate the fact that we all look different. We all may look different doing it or trying it, have different ways doing it. I'm going to offer several variations, but let's celebrate that diversity, right? Let's take these healthy risks together and have some fun. So if you have your props, you might want to grab them now. If you don't, you can do it without the props as well, but I'm going to offer ways to do it with props. So with the props, we can find our yogi squat again. We can find a pillow in front of us, and if we have a pillow, we can use a pillow. That might be best because the one thing that might happen is you want something to catch you if you do fall, and the pillow might be a nice thing to do. Or the block can be here. We can rest our forehead on the block as we practice. So forehead on the block, forehead on the bolster, or none, and you can just do it without. First things first is to find your yogi squat. So you can start standing, heel toe your feet apart, and find a nice comfortable squat down and your hands down onto the floor. Okay, you can pick your ankles up this time instead of having them on the floor like before. Pick your ankles up. Let's talk about the palms, our claws, which is they will become during our Bakasana, or our crow pose. Hands come to the ground. See if we can grip the floor with our palms, right? Feel nice strength in our wrist. And then we're gonna come up with our tail feather. So kick your tail feather up, raise your tail feather up, straighten your arms, and start to lean your weight in towards your arms. And notice how this might already be a little invigorating in the palms and the arms. We can now bend our elbows, creating a shelf for the knees. When we create a shelf for the knees, with the elbows, we can maybe bring our head to the forehead and bring up one toe at a time. Forehead to the bolster, forehead to the block, and take that healthy risk. Maybe you do it with a little momentum and you come in and you pick up, but don't rush, don't push yourself over. You can fall, and that's fun too, to get back up and try it again. Feel strength in your upper body as you do this. Shake out your wrists if you're feeling discomfort. And then let's maybe try it again. I'll talk it through one more time. So remember, hands on the ground. Block something to fall into in front of you in case you need it for that extra courage. Hands now grip the floor. Pick up the tail feather. Sit nice and low. And then see if you can start to transfer your weight into your palms. Find that strength in your arms to grip the ground and pick up one toe at a time. Head on a block, head on a bolster. Reach up, straighten as much as you can. Nice. And remember to breathe. Remember to breathe. Okay. Nice. Have a few times with that. A few fun times with that. Just come back to a seat on your mat. Shake out your wrist. Shake it off. Let that one go. Having fun. If it went well. If it didn't go so well. Either way, right? Practice is practice. Practice is progress. So we'll just leave it on that note wherever you're at. We're going to start to just squeeze the wrist a little bit, massage out the hand for a moment. Each wrist, squeezing up each hand. And just to bring some fresh fluid and energy back to the wrist. That can be kind of a lot for our hands. Shake it off again once more. We'll do a couple of last movements here for cool down. So go ahead and when you're ready, we're gonna bring ourselves and float ourselves down to the ground. All the way down. Maybe you visit a boat pose. We've already had sort of an invigorating class, but maybe you wanna float down and lift your ankles up. Hold your boat and then come all the way down to the floor. Nice and slow. Keeping your feet on the floor. Let's cross right ankle on top of left. And when we're ready, we're going to give ourselves a big hug, but with our legs in this figure 4 position. Pick your left leg off the ground. Maybe snake your right arm through the hole of your legs, left arm around. Grab your shin, grab the back of your leg, and let your legs hang for a moment. Maybe you squeeze them in a little bit. Not too much strength of the arms is being used. Let's take a moment in our supine pigeon. Pigeon posture, helping to open up our hips. You want to feel some openness in your outer right hip. Can you imagine a fist balling up or anything balled up? Any tension, and then imagine that tension releasing, maybe closing your eyes. Imagine that tension releasing in your hip. And going back to a nice invigorating thought, something that is inspiring to you, something that helps you, someone that helps you take risk, take healthy risk for yourself. Let's go ahead and place our left leg down, uncross our ankles, tick-tock side to side for just a quick reset, windshield wiper motion. Before bringing our left ankle over our right knee now, let's do the opposite side. Remember, picking up the foot first. For some of us, we may just want to stay in this position and that feels good already. Or if we want to pick up for more sensation, the foot up, and then snake our left hand through the hole, right arm around, grabbing thigh, grabbing shin, Anything that works, maybe grabbing in that way that makes you feel like you have one less finger. Just the way that you don't normally do it. Opposite pinky on top. Just sort of, right? Take the risk, do things differently. You never know how it might go. Take a moment, relax here. Again, maybe envisioning that illustration of something to help you imagine your muscles relaxing on each exhale a little deeper. And then once we're ready, taking a couple more breaths on this side, knowing that there's no need to rush, but slowly bringing yourself back and out. Bring your left foot back to the floor. Open up your arms nice and wide. Give yourself a big hug, wrapping one arm on top of the other. And also stretching out your arms. See if you can reach back. Let your knees knock in towards each other. Feet wide as the mat, almost. Reach back for your shoulder blades. Give yourself a big hug. Anything that you need to tell yourself, remind yourself, doing in this moment. Knowing that this practice is also about self-love and compassion, self-respect. And then letting that side go, inhaling your arms up and wide. And then exhale, reach your opposite arm on top, crossing them, reaching back for your shoulder blades. Maybe reaching them, or maybe just touching your shoulders, signaling your body to relax as you elongate your exhales. Sort of moving and shifting our practice into a more restorative state. Less trying and doing. And more relaxing, letting go. Let your arms fall back down by your sides. For this final portion of class, it's important that we are comfortable. For final relaxation, making sure that you can grab a blanket, you can rest it on top of you if you're cold or anything, if you're warm, taking delayering, anything that you need to do to ensure that yourself can melt deeper into a relaxation. An eye pillow can help with that. A shirt you can rest over your eyes. Anything to help eliminate distractions. Because now is your time to just be, letting go of all the doing, all the plans, any sort of goal or deadline, anything that will be taking you out of this moment, letting it go for now. Sharing a story while we relax here. Once a little boy, Bran, was flying around, walking around, pretending to fly, and he imagined a crow approaching him. And as he was trying to fly, he actually started to imagine himself falling. He couldn't fly and he was falling. He asked the bird to help. The bird said, you can help yourself. Why don't you just fly? And he said, I can't fly. I don't have any wings. How can I fly? You have wings. The crow said, yes, but you have different wings. And he said, what are you talking about? I can't fly. I'm falling. Help. As he kept spiraling down, deeper into the darker depths, towards the bottom, he was scared. He asked for help. He called for help. The crow said to him, you don't have any wings that look like mine. He said, help. Why can't I fly? Why can't I fly? And the crow reminded him that every flight begins with a fall. So knowing that even if you feel like you've reach some sort of bottom. Knowing that there's always a way up, there's always a way to fly. The boy opened his eyes, and he was still there, playing around. So bringing yourself back to this moment, imagining what a healthy risk might help you do. Taking that time, taking that step towards that goal, going for it. Let's take a deep breath into whatever that is, reaching your arms up over your head, maybe just wiggling your nose and your fingers and your toes. And then invite yourself to roll over to your side. Nice and slow, resting your hands, letting the props fall away, resting your head in your hands or in your arm. And then slowly start to assist yourself up to a sleep. Nice and slow. Knowing that you can carry with this whatever inspiration or anything that we've helped bring up for you during class, knowing that we can now move forward and bring it with us off of the mat, anything we may be feeling now with us. You can take time to check out with people you may be surrounded by, with your community, if you're practicing with others, sharing your name and your feeling, if that's different. Also just checking out with yourself for a moment and just sharing with yourself anything that you've been scared to do. What is something you've been scared to do but you want to try? You can share that with yourself or with others and take that time to reflect, maybe journal about it. Otherwise, we're going to end class now, and I thank you so much again for joining me here at the Art of Yoga Project YouTube channel. My name is Holly, and I hope to see you guys again very soon. Let's end class in a final gesture, right? The reason I love this practice is we're doing it all together. So whatever gesture resonates with you most, hands together, hands on the heart, anything that makes sense for you, go ahead and bring your palms wherever that makes sense. We like to bow and say, the light in me sees and honors, thinks the light in you is totally awesome. Namaste.